NFL players will sometimes go from unknown to superstars in a flash. Take for example Geno Smith or Josh Jacobs in 2022. These are called breakout players, and in this video we'll try and predict one from each of the 32 NFL teams in 2023. Starting with Kansas City Chiefs is Kadarius Toney. The Chiefs wide receiver had a bad start to his career over in New York. However, since arriving to Kansas City, he has shown some signs of potential. Having Patrick Mahomes at quarterback and pretty much no wide receiver competition, Toney is in prime position to have a breakout year in 2023. For the Indianapolis Colts is Alec Pierce. He had a solid rookie season even though he didn't make a lot of noise. I know his quarterback situation is pretty terrible, but I think he'll make the second year leap to establish himself as the #1 receiver in Indy. Moving on to Tua Tagovailoa for the Dolphins. Last year was a perfect opportunity for him to break out, but the only thing he ended up breaking was his skull. I believe that as long as he stays healthy, Tua will manage to be a top 10 quarterback in 2023. I mean, he's talented and look at the weapons he has. For the Bengals, I'm picking Cam Taylor-Britt. I've liked him ever since he was in college. He was a late round pick, but he still had a somewhat solid year last season. He has the talent, and I believe he could eventually establish himself as the best corner in Cincy. But it's gotta start somewhere, and that's next season. Now for the Packers, I'll take Jordan Love. This guy has to literally replace Aaron Rodgers, so he's under insane pressure. Even though this is his first year as a starter, I think he has what it takes to have a good season in 2023. Then for the Ravens, Odafe Oweh. He had a really good rookie season in 2021, and then kind of stayed the same the following one. However, I'm expecting a huge leap from him in 2023. The situation is just right, and I think he's feeling real comfortable in that Ravens D. Now for the Texans, Nico Collins. With Brandon Cooks now gone, someone has to step up as the #1 wideout in Houston. Collins is the man for the job as he's going into his third year with some solid stats and the chance to prove everyone he's a #1 wide receiver. On to the Cowboys, Jake Ferguson. He spent his rookie season in the shadows of Dalton Schultz, even though he did manage to get a couple of touchdowns. But now that Schultz is gone, there's really no competition for Ferguson to just step up and get the starting job at tight end in 2023. New Orleans Saints, Chris Olave. He could make a case as the most talented wideout of last year's receivers class. His quarterback situation is pretty average, but I think he has the tools to make the year 2 leap. Don't be surprised if this guy suddenly plays at a Pro Bowl level, because I think there's a high likelihood he actually does. Moving on to the Panthers is Chuba Hubbard. Coming out of college, this guy was the real deal, but having to play under Christian McCaffrey will certainly get you off the spotlight. With the renewed running back room in Carolina, I can easily see Hubbard having a major role in the backfield next season. Now for the Browns, I have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. His first 2 years in the league were nothing special, and some would even dare to say they were somewhat disappointing. However, for me it is clear this guy has some insane potential, so I'm betting on 2023 being the year he finally plays at a high level. On to the Rams is Van Jefferson. He may not be the most talented receiver out there, but he is definitely capable of making some great plays. He's entering his 4th year in the NFL, and I firmly believe that as long as nothing goes south, he'll have his best season by far. For the Lions, I am taking Aiden Hutchinson. He had an amazing rookie season last time around, and I would dare to say he's the best defensive player in Detroit right now. The talent is there, and he's the leader of this defense, so I'm totally confident that he'll have a dominant breakout season in his sophomore year. Now for the Steelers is Kenny Pickett. I know everyone would pick George Pickens here, and even though I think he's having a breakout season, he was already pretty solid in 2022. Kenny Pickett's stats, however, were terrible, even if he didn't play bad. I'm expecting him to be a top 15 quarterback in 2023, so the leap is about to be insane. Moving on to the Jets, Breece Hall. This guy was playing amazing till he got injured. We already saw what he's capable of, so it's now time for him to just stay healthy and tear entire defenses apart next season. The talent is there, and honestly, I think he could end up top 10 in every major rushing stat in 2023. Now for the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson. Some would say last year he had his breakout, but I think 2023 will be an even better year for him. Stevenson is a very talented back, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he surpassed 1200 yards next season. For the Commanders, I'll take Brian Robinson. He's going to end the year as a clear starter in Washington. Even though there may be some competition to start with, I'm confident that he's the most talented running back in the team, so I'm counting on him breaking out next season. Now for the Raiders is Amir White. I know it may sound crazy considering he plays under Josh Jacobs, but being realistic, White will get a much larger role in 2023 than last season. He has potential, and I wouldn't be surprised if he established himself as the Raiders' #2 back. Minnesota Vikings, Alexander Mattison. He has to step up for Dalvin Cook, and last season he proved he's capable of doing so. Mattison is incredibly talented, and I feel like he also fits quite well in this offensive scheme. The situation is just perfect. 2023 has to be a breakout season for him. It's just all beautifully said. Up next with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Travon Walker. I never liked him being the first overall pick, but there's no denying he's insanely talented. I'm predicting that in 2023 he'll he'll break out, leading the Jaguars to a division crown. Onto the Buccaneers, Joe Tyrone Shoyinka. His first 2 years in the NFL were honestly solid, and I'm honestly surprised he didn't get a lot of recognition. Still, I think 2023 is bound to be his best year, and it won't be too hard to shine in that Buccaneers team. Seattle Seahawks, Boye Mafe. He didn't get a lot of opportunities during his rookie season, but he did show some flashes of potential. With a renewed defense in Seattle, Mafe now has a shot at establishing himself as a top defensive end on the team. Now for the Broncos, Jerry Jeudy. The hype around him has been short-lived every single season. The quarterback situation over in Denver was never great, but I'm hoping Russell Wilson will make a comeback in 2023. Assuming he does, Jerry Jeudy is the one whose production will be insanely increasing. For the Cardinals, I have Rondale Moore. He surpassed 400 yards in both of his first 2 seasons. He was never a top receiver, but he wasn't really bad. With DeAndre Hopkins leaving Arizona, Moore now has a unique opportunity to have a major role in this offense. I'm pretty sure he'll have his best season this year. Moving on for the 49ers, I'll take Drake Jackson. 2022 was pretty good for him, but he still didn't really shine. The Niners defense is amazing, so the opportunity to grow for Jackson is insane. For me, it's just a matter of time before he breaks out. So why not 2023? Now for the Giants, I'm picking Isaiah Hodgins. Unless you're a die-hard Giants fan, you probably don't know this guy. He has little under 400 career receiving yards, but he's in a team where there's really no star receiver. I'm not saying he'll get close to 1,000 yards, but I think he'll be able to at least establish himself as a solid second or third option. Moving on for the Titans is Treylon Burks. I feel like last season he was solid, but being regularly compared to AJ Brown is what hurt his reputation the most. However, I think in 2023 he'll be able to have way better numbers, even if his quarterback situation isn't amazing. Buffalo Bills, James Cook. Devin Singletary is gone, so Cook has a clear path to become Buffalo's #1 back. He is pretty talented. I mean, at the end of the day, he is Dalvin Cook's brother. I've liked him since college, so I'm truly hoping 2023 is a great year for him. Up next for the Eagles is Jordan Davis. This guy was a beast coming out of college, and even if he didn't make a lot of noise when starting in the NFL, he did show some potential. Davis is in prime position to break out next season, especially considering how young and talented this Eagles defense is. For the Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Pitts. Everyone seems to rank him as a top 5 tight end even when he's not. At least not yet. He's probably the most talented tight end out there, yes. So based on that, I think it's only a matter of time before he wreaks havoc in the league. Now for the Bears is Justin Fields. This may be the tale of the preseason, hyping up Justin Fields without any logic whatsoever. Well, the potential is there and he's now got some more weapons. Of course, I don't think he'll get anywhere near MVP production, but 2023 will be a massive upgrade from past seasons. And finally for the LA Chargers, I have Joshua Kelly. We still don't know what's bound to happen with Austin Eckler, but regardless of that outcome, Kelly will most certainly see an increased role in 2023, which of course will lead to a much better season than the last one. Anyways, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you on the next one.